We begin partial differential equation with Python, part 3. So, in the other parts, you have known how we discretized the partial differential equations, and then we employed that discretized version in computer and wrote code in Python. In this part 3, we will discuss mostly with the Laplace's equation in two dimension. Okay, so this is your Laplace's equation, del 2 phi del x square plus del 2 phi del y square equal to 0 in 2D. So V can be in your electrostatic potential or steady state temperature or something. Notice one thing, while you did diffusion equation in 2D, then you had the same term, two terms, del 2v or del 2u del x square plus del 2u del y square, and on the other side of the equation, equality, you had del u del t, that's the time variation. And if you put that equal to 0, then it will become a Laplace's equation. That means Laplace's equation is nothing but the steady state form of the diffusion equation in 2D. Well, so as usual, we discretized these terms, del 2phi del x square, ij. You know that I and j are the two indices for x and y respectively, and that is equal to vi minus 1j minus 2vij plus vi plus 1j by h square. H is your delta x, and the del 2phi del y square ij is similarly equal to vi j minus 1 minus 2vij plus vi j plus 1 by k square. K is your delta y. And you notice the differences between the two formulas. In the first formula, the index j remains fixed because it is derivative on x, so the I changes. In the next formula, j changes but I remains fixed, and the h is your delta x, k is your delta y. And these two formulas, you know already that these are obtained by discretized method, by finite difference method, and these two formulas are called central difference formula. You have come across forward difference formula, backward difference formula, and all that, and we will use any of the three form versions wherever it is necessary and possible, and the final discretized form can be solved in computer the way we can. Okay, so now if we consider h equal to k, that means you the delta x and delta y in two directions, steps in two directions, x and y. That is, for simplicity, it can be taken as equal. So in that case, if you write these two formulas in the Laplace's equation, becomes Vij equal to 1 by 4, and the sum of the four terms, I minus 1j, I plus 1j, ij minus 1, ij plus 1. So it is basically, you can think you are at the position ij, and you are going right, I plus 1j, going left, I minus 1j, going up, ij plus 1, and going down, ij minus 1. So the four nearest neighbor points, the values at the four nearest neighbor points, and it is basically the average of the four terms. So Vij is basically the average of all these four nearest neighbor terms around it. So this is the formula simplest formula we deal with. Okay, to show you pictorially, this is a part of the network. Suppose the whole system you discretized, and it is a square network or a grid or a lattice, whatever you call, and this is the part. Okay, so suppose you understand the middle point, middle bullet point is say ij, and the right side of it is I plus 1j, left side of it is I minus 1j, and so on. And you think of the lattice or the system. Suppose now this is the system. Okay, so the whole system is a homogeneous system, suppose, and you discretize this system in this manner, so that on the horizontal axis this is x, and the vertical axis this is y. And suppose it's a electrostatic potential problem, and in this system you maintain see potential on four sides, and you try to figure out what will be the potentials at all the nodes of this system. That means in discrete discrete differences at the equal distant points on the lattice. So you can think of the problem to implement in computer. You can think of the problem in very many ways. You can give this is a kind of problem where you need boundary values only. So in this two-dimensional problem, you can think that we need to give boundary values at all four boundaries. Okay, so suppose we think of a problem where on the left side I have written v equal to 10. On the left side, the leftmost points, all the points, so the potential is maintained at say 10 volt or something, and the other three sides the potential can be 0 or something, whatever you give. So these are the four boundaries. You don't need initial condition because there is no time. Well, so you before we go to implement on computer, we can want to show you how you update the points. You have the formula. Suppose Vij, it is you want to determine Vij in the central points shown here in this figure, and for that you need four nearest neighbor points, and you take the average of these 4 points. But how do you go? How do you go on? Where from you begin? There are many schemes. So in this particular scheme, there are many schemes. Means you suppose you the left side Vij and the right side Vi plus 1j, I minus 1j, ij plus 1, ij minus 1. It's all these 4 terms. So suppose in computer you implement in such a way that in one sweep you get all the values. Say you start from some guess value, you don't know what will be the values. So you solve this problem in a self-consistent way. You, to begin with, you think that you have all the guess values of the points of the values of the potentials at all the points. So in the next sweep you need to update all the values to a new values, so that in the next sweep you use all the previous values, all old values for each point. This can be one scheme, but technically if you do this, the better way is to do this problem in such a way that you actually either from one end or systematically you go on updating each point in such a way. Suppose in this figure, start at the bottom left corner. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then go up 7, and then back left 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, then again go up and go right. So this way, a serpentine way, you go on identifying the points 0, 1, 2, 3, and etc. And on the points on the boundary will not be updated. only points inside this network, all the nodes inside, those will be updated. So suppose you say so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 will not be updated, 7 will not be updated. So updated scheme will be from say 8. So for suppose for 8, you need the information of 7, information of 6, information of 9, and information of up 19. So that means since you are going from down, see the information of say 5 is on the boundary. Okay, fine. Information of 7 is also on the boundary. Information on 9, still you don't know the it is the old value. So you are using the old value, and information on 19, it is still on the old value. But suppose you come on to the one middle point. Say suppose say you are on point number say 17, say third layer. Okay, so if you come to the 17 point, you are using number 10, number 16, number 18, and above it will be 21, 22, 23, 24, say. That means to update say point number 17 or any middle point, you need to use one point from below level, one point already say if you come from left or right, so one point say 16 is already updated, so 16 value of 16 is new, and value of 10 is new, but value of 18 is old, and value of the upper point say it will be 21, 22, 23, 24, value of 24 will be old. That means while updating this scheme systematically, if you systematically go from one side to other, from one corner to the another corner, whatever way it is, it's up to you. You come from top to bottom, bottom to top, right to left, left to right, doesn't matter. Systematically, serially you are going. So for each point, you need the new value of each at each point will be the average of 4 points of its as neighbors, neighboring 4 points. So out of these 4, see in the below formula I have written in different colors. So you are using 2 new values and 2 old values, in fact, because in this serial process of updating. So this is one scheme, and this scheme is faster than the one that I told earlier, where you used stored all the old values, and for the new value you used all these old values and they updated the each point this way. This is one scheme, and now this is another scheme where you have mixed the values. You do both these schemes in a very self-consistent way, and this scheme is technically it is experimented. This scheme is faster than the previous scheme, where you have the mixed old and new values. So this scheme is called Gauss-Seidel relaxation method. So we will apply this, employ this Gauss-Seidel relaxation method and try to solve this in computer and write a code in Python. Okay. So there is another interesting point to make here. You have read Kirchhoff's law for electrical circuits. The Kirchhoff's current law is that at each node, suppose you imagine that network, suppose it is a current carrying network, you apply voltage on one side and apply other kind of voltage on other sides. So you try to see what will be the current flowing through this and what will be the voltage distributions at each node. So but you apply Kirchhoff's law. So Kirchhoff's law is that Kirchhoff's current law is that the current, total current entering and going out, total current at each node is 0. It has to be 0 because of the conservation principle. So you can write from the network that Vij is the potential at ij point, Vi minus 1 j is the potential at the I minus 1 j point, and so on. So the four currents on the four arms are Vij minus Vi minus 1j by R plus Vij minus Vi plus 1j by R, and so on. R is the resistance between two nodes. So if you think this material is homogeneous and you discretize this homogeneous material into a square network, and now you think that in the square network all the resistances, suppose you imagine a resistance between each node, and all the resistance values are same. So in this very specialized resistor network, which comes from the imagination of the material we have taken, which we have discretized in this way, in this square lattice form. So in this way, you write this Kirchhoff's law, current law, and you now immediately can think of, if since R is same for all, you can take it out, and you see you got back the same formula what we discretized from Laplace's equation. So basically, discretized version of Laplace's equation on this lattice point where all the resistances are equal, you have got Kirchhoff's law. Basically, this Laplace's equation and Kirchhoff's law are the same in this case. And you see, this is the gateway of your simulation of any kind of resistor network. Since you have known how to discretize the Laplace's equation and what will be the method of finding out the new values of potential at each point, each interior points, given the old values. So this is your formula, and we will implement this formula. But before that, you remember that with this formula, if we little bit we modify this formula for suppose you have a inhomogeneous material, that you can model that network where you have a certain kinds of distributions of the resistances, say random resistor network, where you have taken a network like this, and the resistances between two nodes in this network are different from one to other. So you can have the random resistances, then the formula will be different. Of course, the resistances will be the upper formula what we have written from Kirchhoff's law. Then we can little bit modify our program, and we can model a inhomogeneous material with random resistor network. Then you can modify again, and you can do lots of simulation work for different kinds of materials where the resistances have a specific form. Resistances or conductances between 2 points can be modeled with a specific formula, specific law or something. Well, so we begin with this formula Vij equal to 1 by 4 in bracket there are 4 terms. So it's an average of the potentials at the all nearest neighbor points. Good. So so Laplace's equation in 2D. To write the program in Python, again I said that I tried to write in my own way, and you will write your own program, but it is for demonstration. So import NumPy as NP. So we need a network which is say 100 by 100 size, say for example. So I take capital N equal to 100. This is the square network, maybe I'm thinking, and it's a number of steps, how many times you iterate something. So I take iter is some variable, I take equal to 500, and guess values. So you need to have guess values you need to start from somewhere. So I need some guess values. The guess values, the final result will be independent of the guess values. you can give some random values at all the points. You can give some zero values all the points. You can give something else. It's up to you. You can give some distribution. That choice is up to you. Up to means you kind of do this, begin with the simulation with different kinds of initial guess values and see how the system, the potentials at all the points converge to certain values. Okay, so I take, to begin with, I take v equal to np dot zeros, and inside this a tuple n comma n. That means it has created n by n square lattice where the potentials at all those points are zero. Okay, see, and now the picture I showed where you have a square lattice, square network or grid, where the left side is kept at some potential, left bar, y-axis is potential, this potential at all points will be say 10. So this is the slicing v colon comma 0. That means the leftmost, all the values on the leftmost points, the column basically is 10. And since I have taken v equal to np dot zeros n comma n, that means it will take from 0 to n values. That means actually n plus 1 values actually. Okay, so it's a 0 to n values. All the points, be it interior, be it outside the these things, I mean the other borders, other three side borders, everywhere it is 0. And then finally I have taken v colon comma 0 equal to 10. So now we have a network where the potential at each points, all the points inside and the other three boundaries, all are zeros except the points on the left side, leftmost, the left column, all are 10. So this is, by this we fix the boundary conditions and the initial values. Good. So first we want to experiment. We want to see how this simulation goes, how this numerical evaluation goes. Means we start from a guess value and we go on iterating with the formula we derived, discretized formula. But we do not know when to stop, how far we will go, after how many iterations this it will converge to the desired values. So we need to check that. So for that I'm doing writing capital E equal to empty list. E will be clears what is E. Next, n iter, number of iterations, equal to range iter. That means the iterations will go from 0 to 499. Okay, that means 500 steps. Next, the loop starts for iter in n iter. It is just a kind of time loop. This is the iteration loop. Next, before we proceed, we need to keep a copy of the potentials to store, because we need to compare the new values obtained through one sweep with the old values. So because I want to check how the values are progressing towards the desired value. So we have v0 equal to v dot copy function. So with this copy function, we actually copy the values, v values, potential values at a different memory location. Okay, so for I in range, we do not want to update the point 0. For I is the x-axis index and j will be the y-axis index. So you see, for I and j, you need two loops because we have two indices. There is no time. The iteration loop is to iterate self-consistently, and the range is between 1 to n minus 1. Okay, because the 0th point you don't need, and the n minus 1 point you do not need. You need n minus 2 points. Okay, so now you try to iterate this and write this formula Vij equal to 0.25 means 1 by 4 into Vi plus 1j plus Vi minus 1j plus Vij plus 1 plus Vij minus 1. That's it. This is your program. And now what we want to do, want to check, we said that we want to check the iteration, how it progresses, how the values are getting updated. So in that case, you see the for I and j loops are over. For all ij loops are after all I and j loops, I mean the ij loops are over. That means you have gone one sweep for all the points 1, 2, 3, 4 and all that. So the error you can think of error equal to np dot sum, and inside that np dot absolute value, absolute function, inside you write v minus v0. What is v0? V0 is the old copy, and what is v? V is the new updated values. So the difference between all these are, v is your np array, numpy array, so there is no problem, it will be automatically subtracted from point to point. So v minus v0 is the difference between two sets of values, new and old, and you take the absolute value because it can be plus or minus, or you could take square, okay, and then you sum over all the nodes that you are updating. That will tell you the total error. This is a way of defining one error. So it is an error you have measured, and this error for one iteration loop. See, this is inside the iteration loop. So you record this error for this iteration, this iteration step, and you append this in the capital E, this empty list you have created. So in this capital E list. So that means you are updating the you are creating one array of errors for each iteration. So that's it. This is you have to do to check. And now you want to plot this. Nothing. You have to import matplotlib.pyplot as plt. Then plt.plot niter versus e. You want to see how this iteration goes. That means how the error, either it goes up or comes down or whatever, in this Gauss Seidel relaxation scheme. Okay, and you want to see plot plt.show through this. Okay, so this is the error versus number of iterations. So you see this clearly, with the number of iterations, the error goes down. It becomes, in this scheme we have checked that it becomes exponentially, it falls exponentially mostly. You can check on your own, you can check with Semilog, and you can try how this error goes down. So with this, how this error goes down, whether it is exponential or is super exponential or power law or whatever, that depends on what scheme you have taken for updating. We have taken some serial scheme where we have used Gauss Seidel relaxation, where in the formulas there are mixed old and new values, and with this is this thing. So that means from this graph you know now the when and how long you have to iterate. In the program, in the iteration loop, you can put it a while loop. That means while the error is above this value, some tolerance value, you will go on iterating. When it will touch the error given tolerance value, the kind of given thing, say 10 to the power minus 5, 10 to the power minus 6 or so it will stop. So the program is on your own, and the when you will stop, that is on your own. So this is how error goes with number of iterations. Well, as I said in the earlier programs, the ij loops, now now these are your 2D loops. not 2D. 2D arrays. Vij are two-dimensional arrays. So again, in the same method, you can write this thing for a quicker and for smarter computation, smarter looking computation and quicker, the faster computation, you can replace this ij loop with this formula inside with a numpy array slicing. How? You write this way, phi, say on the left side you have phi ij, that means I and j, you drop the boundary points, you don't iterate the boundary points. So the inside left side, inside v, the I slicing is from 1 to -1, that means you drop 0 and you drop -1 means the end value, you don't touch the main value, the last value, main -1. So it goes from actually 1 to before -1, and for the jth also 1 colon -1, and on the right side also you go on writing this way. Okay, you writing this way, you can understand how these can be written. You check on your own and you can see how these two for loops with the discretized formula inside can be replaced by single line by numpy array slicing. This is on your own, you can use this. If it is problematic for you, you can for the moment you can drop it also, it's up to you. Okay, now we see a plot. Okay, suppose you are doing this iteration up to certain steps that is decided how many times, how many how long you will iterate will depend on what you want. What is your tolerance value, that you will write in your loop. And for a contour plot, say with the same boundary conditions, you need to incorporate these steps: matplotlib.pyplot as plt. This for coloration, color interpolation equal to some values 20, that means how many steps it will go in colors. And the color map is you bring from plt, that means it has a module called cm, plt.cm, and inside there is a scheme. There are very many schemes. This scheme is I use the scheme Coolworm, that is for fancy designing, coloring. And to contour plot, you want to create a grid of x and y. So you write x range 0 to n, y is also range 0 to n, and you want to create a mesh grid first. That is the same for creating 3D plots. So capital X comma capital Y equal to np dot mesh grid. Inside that you write x comma y. So it has created a mesh grid of x and y. And then it is a title, temperature profile I wrote. Then the contour f. There are many functions. Contour f, only contour will draw the lines, and contour f will plot as a surface. So you give x comma capital Y inside this function, and comma v. So v at each xy points are already calculated, so the array is already stored. And then you write inside as argument you write color interpolation. You have already given color interpolation equal to 20, and cmap, this is also another argument. Cmap is this color mapping. I called it color capital map, that is equal to plt.cm.coolworm. So with this, and you can also set a color bar on the side, that means which color corresponds to which values, and you can write plt.color bar, it will automatically create a color bar. So these are all nothing new, this is all nothing physics, nothing computation also, these are all designing part. If you can consult the matplotlib chapter, you can find out how to do this. You can do very many ways of something plotting, coloring. This is up to you. Okay, so this is the voltage distribution. See on the left side, left bar, So the color is red, and this, see the right color bar. The top red is 9, I mean up to 10, because you have given 10, and the down is blue. So that is from the on the color bar, from red to you come down up to blue, and the values of the potentials or whatever temperature, it changes like that. So the let's see the diagram. In this diagram, in this contour plot, you see how the potential values are distributed, and this is a contour plot. Okay, so you can check this with your exact result also. Now, for a different boundary condition, I said that in your previous problem also, you write the one particular program according to your convenience, and then you just do nothing. Just for a different kinds of problems, you just set the boundary condition. The rest, most of the in your program, most of the places will remain the same. Okay, for a different boundary condition, suppose you give v colon comma 0 equal to 10. That means on the left, this side of the of the square, you put all the values 10. That's as usual you did, and there we did all the other three sides were 0. Now you give vn minus 1 equal to say 6. That means vn minus 1, that means the another boundary. Here it is, say top boundary n minus 1. So that value will give 6, and the rest are all same. See how it changes. See, the left side is red, and the top is less red. That value is around value 6, and the bottom of the square and the right side of the square are all blue. That means they are all 0, and you see how the distribution of potential is in this particular boundary conditions. Okay, so you can check with very many different kinds of boundary conditions, and check with contour plot. It looks fancy how this appears. Okay, for 3D plot, from matplotlib import cm, from mpl underscore toolkits import mplot 3D. This is important for 3D plot. You have to have it. X equal to range n, y equal to range n, then capital X capital Y equal to np dot meshgrid xy. The same thing you did before in this contour plot. And then you write figure equal to plt dot figure. You may not write that. This is important. Axis equal to plt dot axis. Inside that you write projection equal to quote unquote 3D. You can write these lines in very many different ways. Doesn't matter. It's up to you. You consult the matplotlib manual in computer, in the Python site. Go to Python site, the SciPy site. You can get all these details how to do it, or check with help on your interpreter. And then x dot plot underscore surface. You want to plot the surface x capital Y, which are the part of the mesh grid, comma v, and then color mapping equal to, again I preferred cm dot cool warm. Okay, so this is the 3D. So the left side is see the left wall. The left wall means the height of the wall is a 10, and the height of the walls are going down and down towards the right. So this is probably what you expected. Okay, so Poisson equation. So I now solved the variation of these things. The Laplace equation is what is homogeneous. Now is inhomogeneous equation, means you have certain something on your right. So del 2v again in 2D, del 2v del x square plus del 2v del y square equal to rho by epsilon 0. So you can take epsilon 0 equal to 1 for your computation, and rho is the density of charge, say, for electrostatic problem. And suppose now you want to discretize this equation as before, nothing new, nothing something, but you have to you will get, if you discretize, rho E can be, in principle, rho can be function of rho can be distributed different ways at different points. So rho can be constant, rho can be function of x and y also, like v. Okay, so I put some rho ij on this equation on the right side, and since delta x equal to delta y equal to, you understood they were equal in the previous expression, there was no delta x and delta y, means there was no h or k. Here you have to have, because you multiply this with this, no? So on the right side, so the expression, you do it, check it on your paper. So this will be the four terms, vi minus 1j, I plus 1j, ij minus 1, ij plus 1, plus this rho ij into h square. So this is your discretized form of Poisson equation. Okay, so let us check with this point charge. Okay, so point charge, potential at, check the with the boundaries, similar boundary conditions. Potential at all the points are 0. Not only, and we have not given the potential at the left side equal to 10 or so, because we now want to see potential at all four sides will be 0, and you put a point charge in the middle of this network. So v equal to np zeros, n comma n tuple, so all the points is zeros, and rho, rho rho equal to this this thing is np dot zeros, n comma n. That means, to begin with, rho is also 0 at all points, but now you give this point charge, rho at n by 2 comma n by 2, that means at the middle, and you give this value as 1. You can give any value. So it's like a delta function. So it's a point charge is like a delta function. So you give a value 1 at the middle in the network and zeros at all the other points. Okay, so you take h some value, say 0.1. It's your choice, and you do the same iterations. Same, first iteration loop, then I loop, then j loop, and you write these things. So here it is. So here you got the potential profile for the point charge. See, the red dot in the middle is your point charge, and the value is 1, and the color differences, the fading colors, and in the on all four sides it's blue, that means all zeros. So this is what you should get for the potential distribution of a point charge, and what you have learned in your electrostatics book. Okay.